Howdy howdy folks, and welcome back to the channel. I am Ureh the Blender Magus, and in this course, you will be learning how to create Naruto Uzumaki from start to finish. To do this, we will be using the latest version of Blender. In this course, you will learn how to model Naruto with Blender's new modeling tools. Texturing will be done in Blender as well, utilizing Blender's in-house texture painting and baking systems. Lastly, we will rig Naruto from start to finish using the newly released BlenRig 6. This course is for beginners that already have a basic understanding of Blender and intermediate users who are looking to finally make a full character. If you're not familiar with Blender or 3D in general, please feel free to check out my Blender for Beginners series. In that series, you will learn the basics of Blender and 3D in minutes. By the end of this course, you will have modeled, textured, and rigged your very own Guilty Gear style character from Blender, ready for production. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So we're jumping right into Blender. When you first open your scene, of course we have our default cube. Of course we're going to delete it. Next we want to add in our reference images. If you still need a reference image, go to Google and you can type in Naruto Model Sheets 3D and you should be able to find this model sheet right here. Once you have your model sheet and saved it, you want to go back into Blender and you want to hit Shift A, Image, Reference. Honestly, I don't think it matters if you hit reference image or background image. Go to where you saved your images and open it. Hit Alt R to clear any rotation data and then hit RX 90 degrees to rotate it on the X-axis 90 degrees. We're going to hit 5 and then we're going to hit 1 to go into orthographic and then the front view. Then we're going to hit G and Z and we're going to bring this up. We're going to select with our image selected here, we're going to hit opacity and turn this to 0.5 for now. And we just wanted to make sure that his feet are indeed touching this red line here, which they appear to be. Next, we're going to line this image up with the front view. So we're going to take this, hit G and X, and we're going to move it to the center there. And we can get extra precise with the lines, hit G and X, and we're just going to move this over till we get it to be right in the middle of that zipper there. It's perfect. And we're going to grab this image and we're going to move it on the Y-axis back. And then we're going to hit Shift D to duplicate this and hit Y to move it forward. And then you want to hit period and go to 3D cursor. You want to hit RZ 90 degrees. And then you want to go back to medium point, hit G, X, bring it to the side, and G and Y, bring this. So let's line the side view up with the blue line, which should be about right here. And very good. Next, make sure you're in your image properties here. You want to check only axis aligned. You want to check front and the depth to be front. And let's turn the opacity to 0.25 now. Do the exact same thing for this image. So now, when we are in our 3D view, we can't see the images, but if we hit 1 to go into the front view or 3 to go into the side view, we can see our reference images. So, we're going to start modeling the face. To do this, hit Shift A, go to Mesh, go to Plane. Hit Tab to go into Edit Mode, and RX 90 degrees. We're going to S to scale this plane down. and hit 2 to go into edge select mode, or click edge select mode up here. And we're going to hold control and we're going to left click around until we form a loop. We're going to, with this edge selected, select this edge and hit F to make a face. And hit 1, Alt right click in here, we're going to hit W, go to loop tools and circle. If you don't have loop tools, go to edit, preferences, add-ons, type in loop, and you should find mesh loop tools. Make sure you check that box, and of course save your preferences. Now you should be able to grab this loop, hit W, loop tools, circle. And now we have a loop that we're going to use to help us map out the facial features. So let's take our loop here and let's make sure that we rotate these outer edges so that they're almost flush with the inner ones. And let's grab this whole loop. We're going to move it to the side, hit S to scale, and this will be our initial eye loop. So let's place that there, and let's also place that in the side view as well. Next, we want to shape the inner part of this loop to match the shape of the eye. And notice that our image is pretty pixelated when you get real close into the eye. So if you want to, you can find better reference images for Naruto's face or draw some yourself. However, in the interest of time, I will work with this. So once you've shaped the eye into, or at least the front view of the eye into the proper shape, mess with the outer edges so that it better conforms to the new shape that we just made. Next, go to the side view and select a couple of these edges or faces here, vertices. We're going to hit G, Y. And well, before we do that, we're going to hit O for proportional editing, and we're going to hit Alt O to turn on proportional editing to connect it. And then we're going to hit G and Y, and we're just going to move these vertices back. And then in the front needs some of this as well. So we're going to hit G, Y, we're just going to move it back a little bit. We're also going to rotate it. There we go, that gives us a nice little curve. Further accentuate this curve, you want to just edit it in regular 3D space. Take note, I initially started in the front view and got the shape I wanted. I then went to the side view and adjusted the shape to start to fit within the side view, and once I was happy with that, I then went into actual 3D space and began making my own changes to the eye. Those are the three main steps involved in using reference to create a 3D object in 3D space. So now that we have the shape of the eye and we have the loop for the eye necessary, we're going to hit Control R, we're going to add another loop. This loop, we want to hit Alt S and scale it in. And then we want to add another loop. See where we're going with this, we're making the eyelids, right? So grab this vertex here. You can control and right click to grab these other ones here without having to hold shift the whole time. And then you can hit Alt S to scale, just to scale this top bit out a little bit. And for this bottom bit, we can edge slide some of these So select these vertices here and hit G twice to edge slide. And then select these vertices here, hit G twice to edge slide. Okay. So that's the eye loop. Next we're going to grab this face here and we're going to hit Shift D to duplicate. And we're now going to begin constructing the nose loops. Hit 3 on the number pad and select this face, bring it to the front. Let's go back into solid view so that we know exactly what side our face is facing. So from here we want to select these two vertices, and in the front view we're going to again hold Control and we're just going to click all the way around until we get down here, and we'll delete that last one. Next, what we can do is, if you have the HardOps add-on or if you have the Mesh Machine add-on, you can hit Alt-X and that'll automatically mirror your object to both sides without having to add a mirror modifier. However, we do want to add a mirror modifier, so to do that we're going to go to our monkey wrench tool down here, go to Add, and then Mirror. And now also check clipping. So when we bring these two vertices in, they snap to each other. We're going to want to rotate this face inward some, because this loop from the nose goes from the tip of the nose to underneath the chin. We're going to grab this loop and we're going to bring it back here.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
With this loop created, we're going to make another loop for the nose here. Start by merging those in the center. And E to extrude. Next, adjust the edge loops in the side view. We're going to form another loop from the nose, and this is going to further wrap around the mouth. Grab these two, Control click, and now once again go into the side view and we're going to bring these in. Adjust them properly. Now use this very loop. Hit Shift D to duplicate, right click, S to scale, and if proportional editing is turned on to connected, then you should be fine. G to grab, move into the center here, and we're just going to extrude a couple more times till we get back to the center here. Gonna hit L, select this whole ring and bring it up. Gonna hit S to scale, G to grab, and what we're going to do is we're going to hit E to extrude, right click, and then we're going to hit Alt S. Make sure you turn off proportional editing by hitting O, Alt S. In fact, regular S to scale would be better for this. Next, you want to adjust the vertices in the front view. Turn on proportional editing again. So you want to make sure you have a even number of vertices for the top and the bottom, meaning you just want them to match. So I have a vertice for each point for the top and the bottom, and then you want to have a corner vertice here for the corner of the mouth. Next, we're going to select these middle points and we're going to move these out. Select the topmost face here. We're going to move this out even more. And for these here, we're going to adjust them again in the 3D view so that they look proper. So we now have the main faces of we now have the main planes of the face. We have a couple more that we want to add, and we'll get started filling everything in. So what we want to do is we want to grab this face to the side here, and we want to Shift D to duplicate that, bring that out. We want to bring this to the head here, the back of the head. And we're going to hit 2 to go into edge mode, and we're just again going to, we're going to select all this, and we're going to select these here and move it back. Hit Control 2 and just Control click and drag. Don't worry about the other loops right now. And in the front we can hit E and bring it together. And next you can do that one by one with each of these pieces here. Or, you know, like a sane person, you can use proportional editing. So we want the outer part to be inward, and we want the inner part to be outward. So let's move this out. And then let's grab these and move them in. I'll grab this edge. I'm just going to want to adjust these loops. Once you're cool with that, we'll make more adjustments later. Grab these vertices here, and we're just going to Control click up into the headband to the top of the head, which I assume is about right here. And we're just going to make that a dome. So now we have the loop that goes from the chin to the top of his head. Technically, we need one more loop to go around. So let's go on ahead and make that. And you know what to do from here. Now all that's left to do is to fill out the loops. We're going to begin by extruding the eyes again. Right click, turn off proportional editing, and scale this out. Next we want to extrude upwards for the eyebrows. So select these here and hit E to extrude, and we're just going to move those up. I'm going to start to flatten them, so hit SZ, scale them down. We're going to extrude up again, so that those have started formulating. Let's select these faces and hit Alt S as well to put them well above the eyes. And then let's select these faces here and do the same. Next, we want to hit the T panel and go down to where it says Poly Build and click that. So now we can hold Control and left click and we can continue our loop here. You can also now just click and drag these blue points to move the vertices around. So we're just going to make these loops go all the way around. And to kind of fill out these shapes back here, you want to edge slide. Editing the geometry as we create it. You definitely want to be mindful of how many vertices you have for each connection point, and you want to keep in mind how you're thinking about connecting them. So here is a good time to cut on the statistics, which you can find under viewport displays. So you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that should be fine enough. Select, go to edge mode, select these two edges and hit F. Then we're going to hit F twice. What you see, it kind of looks like we have one too many in here. So we're going to grab this and hit Alt X or Control X. And then we're going to edge slide this down and then hit F twice. And there we go. Now those are connected. Next, you'll want to connect the bridge of the nose. Now let's see here. It's the brow. So we actually want the brow to flow into this. So let's delete this edge and let's select these two here. Hit M at center. Now let's beautify this again so that everything looks proper. And we're going to connect that there. So now it's almost like we have a pair of binoculars around Naruto as far as the topology is concerned, which is what we want. There's our bridge of the nose, obviously. And bring that out. And it would also behoove us to add another edge loop in here. Alt S a little bit. So we want the nose, the main nose, to be all part of this, so we can actually Control B bevel this edge here to add some more definition. So now we can begin connecting the nose. That's what we want. And then we can move these points to be more flush with the geometry. And that's good. I'm gonna take these eyes and just hit SZ to scale them down a little bit. And now we're just going to fill in some more. for here, let's delete that edge. Hit F to make a face. Select that. Delete it. Hit F to make a face with this. So now this is all one edge loop. And it goes right down here. Next we can go through and select a good chunk of this geometry here, and we just want to smooth it. So you can go to vertex and go to smooth vertices, or you can right click this, go to add shortcut, and where it says click button, hit Alt Q. So whenever you hit Alt Q, you smooth your vertices. And we're just going to keep filling in these areas here and doing slight adjustments. Next we're going to fill in this lip region here. So we'll start there, and then we'll start here. Let's add another edge loop in here, just in case we want to attempt to sharpen that later. And we probably will. F to make a face. Select this edge here, hit F. So we're good here. So here we run into a bit of a conundrum. Do we add another edge loop in here? We might have added one down here, so I say no harm, no foul. Just add a couple of extra in there, and there we go. Next, I'm going to start extruding even more inward. Scale that down. Extrude again, except this time from the side view and going in even more, and then scaling it down, scaling Y, and then E, Y. We've committed to going fully on the inside now, and we're just going to W, loop tool, circle, and rotate it so that you can see through the mouth in solid view. And this is perfect. So now we have what will soon be the inside of the mouth. We can for now just extrude that, scale it down. You can also scale this down as well. And we can extrude this again, scale it down, extrude it again, scale it down, and we can just leave that there. For the tip of the nose, we can select these vertices here, extrude, 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 And then we can select these here and hit F. Select these two, select these here. We want to extrude once, scale it down, hit F, hit F. We want to select these three again, extrude again, scale it down, bring it up, hit F, and then let's fill these in like normal gentlemen. So let's add an edge loop here. And let's hit Control F and grid fill. That's good enough for me. Let's hit Alt Q like we made our shortcut to be. And let's go select this entire nose tip here. And we can smooth that out a little bit. And then we can bring this up, of course. Next, edge slide these so that we can better match the vertices that we already have. Select this edge and make faces all the way to the top. We can grab all of this side geometry here and a little bit of this. We can Alt Q to smooth. Alt S to scale it back up a little bit. Smooth, Alt S. Definitely want to grab these here and do a little bit of smoothing as well. And now, turn proportional editing back on. We can now edit the face as a whole. To be a bit more precise. So we can grab these over here. And we can bring his cheeks in. And now we hit W, shade smooth, and we see we have some normal issues here. Not to worry. We tap into edit mode, select everything, hit Shift N, and those should be gone. Next, Naruto's mouth. Let's hide his face. You see his mouth is a little wide, so let's unhide that. And let's widen his mouth up a bit. But you also want to put the lips somewhere in this crease. Scale this out for the lips a little bit. And Naruto doesn't have very obvious lips, but we do still want to shape some. just so that we can have a clear shape that we're working to a defined or define. And then we can bring these back. Next what we can do is we can go to sculpt mode. We can control tab, go to sculpt mode. No tablet needed. We're just going to, with the draw tool selected, hit F, and we're just going to attempt to make a slightly different shape here with these vertices. We could do that by just moving the vertices themselves, but that's a little too manual and that'll take a little too long. That is looking good. Next we can go back into edit mode and grab these inner vertices here, and we just want to hit S and Z to scale them down all the way. Make sure that they're touching. We want to S and Z these all the way so that it looks like they're touching. And there we go. Definitely want to increase that. Alt S this, Alt S this. And then let's grab all these, Alt S them back in, just so that we know we have the outer eyes. Let's go to edge mode, select these, edge slide, and we definitely want to edge slide these here. Grab these here, you just want to smooth these out a little bit. Just gonna start filling the rest of this in. So we have the rest of our face, we've made the adjustments, and now we're going to fill the rest of the area up. You can usually make that into a face, so you can grab these vertices here, drag them down, and then use the poly build tool to make those into a face in the center so that we don't have so much there. Bring that down, then we can hit Control R, add some edge loops, or make some faces. Bring these out to sort of match where they are on the head. F, F, F. We can bevel this, Control B to bevel. And then F, F, F. And then we can straighten out this geometry. You always want to take your time to even out the faces here so that nothing's jagged, because you can shape your shapes better. And if you handed this over to someone who wanted to weight paint it for rigging, the amount of geometry wouldn't be confusing for them. So let's connect these two here with F, and then hit Control R to add an edge loop right there in the center. And then we can bring this up and then hit Control B to bevel, and we can use our middle mouse wheel to scroll up to add more edges in here. And now we have a much smoother transition. And so for this, we're just going to select these, hit E to extrude, scale them down, and we're going to select these and hit F. And we can further clean this up in sculpt mode as well. For here, we can actually get rid of more things than we add, because this is just the top of the head. It's not like this is going to be doing too much deformation. So we're just straightening up the geometry here so that it's not disgusting looking. We have 20 faces, so what we can do, well, we could grid fill this, but we actually want to keep our curvature, so let's worry about that after. Let's extrude that, scale it down, extrude this, scale it down. Select those and make faces. Select these and make faces. Well, don't make faces, but maneuver the points around. Fill those in. So we're starting to see we have an uneven amount of geometry in here, so we'll deal with that. So let's get rid of this. There we go.
And now you've got yourself something funky.
And let's start with the faces. And now what we can do is we can grab this here, bring this out, Control B to bevel it. We can grab these back here and make a face, and then with this selected, Control R, Control R, and then you can just select those two and hit F, and there you go. Now let's go into face select mode and select all of these faces here along the domular piece up to about right here where the eyebrows are. And we just kind of want to smooth this a little bit. Bring it back out with Alt S, but then smooth it. Whoops. Smooth. There we go. So now we're going to go and basically fill out the rest of the dome in a similar fashion. So let's select these here. And then just with these three in the back, we're going to extrude. And we're going to turn off poly build for a second by clicking the selecting box up here, and we're just going to control click in the back area here. We can add some edge loops in here. So for the back of the head, this will be fine. We'll hit G twice and we will go back to our poly build tool and we'll control click this to make a face. That's fine. And now we're going to start connecting this up. But we're actually not going to make faces. We're going to hit F, or we're going to hit Select these two vertices, hit M, and then add center to merge them. M for merge, add center. Select these two, M for merge, add center. And now we're going to begin connecting this empty space together. Check your statistics. We have 16 vertices. So we want to make sure that we don't add any more. See if we can work with what we have. And if we need to, maybe even take some away. Like, see here, let's plan this out. Let's connect this with this. Do we need this extra one in here? I don't think we do. So Control R to add an edge loop in there. 1, 2, 3. So we just need to bring this out. Hit Control B, add 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just adjusting the shape a little bit. And we have now reached 11. We'll add another one right here. We'll Control L or Alt right click to select this. Hit Alt F, grid fill. We're going to go to our grid fill settings and we're going to change the span to 2. And there we go. And we're going to hit Alt Q to make that flush. And then we're actually going to select all of the dome here, including this strip, why not? And we're just going to Alt Q to smooth everything. And there we go. That surface should now be nice and smooth. Let's get our grab tool here. And we're just going to fix this up. And then let's get the elastic deform tool and start messing with these cheeks here. Next we can go back into edit mode, hit 1 to go into wireframe, not wireframe, but vertex mode, G and Y. Bring this back. Next, we're going to start filling in this area back here. Just grab everything, E to extrude, E to extrude, E to extrude, and let's scale this on our way down. Add 4 there, and we're going to connect everything. Perfect. So we're going to grab all of these faces back here, and we're going to Alt S to scale them in along the normals to kind of make that neck region more necular. So we're going to further accentuate this jaw, which is what we want. E to extrude, F, F, and then boom. There we go. Although we might have wanted to save that for when we started actually on the neck in earnest, but it looks like his collar starts there anyway. So we'll leave it alone for now, although we could just bring that down into the collar. So why don't we? Here we go. So Naruto without his hair or headband definitely looks a little weird, but he will definitely look significantly less weird once we get to adding the headband and his hair. For the ear, we're just going to settle with a cartoon ear, a very cartoon ear. Select 4 faces that you want to be your victims and hit E to extrude. I'm going to R to rotate on the Z axis. I'm going to hit R to rotate again. And we're going to move these back. I'm going to hit I to inset, and then E to extrude on the inside, and then S to scale. Just so that we have the idea of the ears down. Let's hit Control R to add an edge loop in between there. And should probably add another one. And now we're going to further shape the ear. Perfect simple ear. We're not doing too much to it because we don't need to. If we want to add more detail in the ear, we will do it when we get to texture painting. So for now, for our purposes, this ear is more than good enough. Let's bring them out more. Let's bring the ears themselves out more so that they can actually match how far Naruto's ears actually come out. Again, we were just working on the idea of the ears. We're going to a little bit more later. That's fine for now. So the next steps are to make the headband and tentatively start on the hair. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit Control Tab, go to Object Mode, and then make sure our cursor is still in the center, and we want to hit Shift A, and this time we're going to add an actual circle. We're going to make this have 16 vertices, and we're going to tab into Edit Mode and scale it down, way down. We're going to hit G and Z, and we're going to bring it up, and it should be inside the head. We're going to scale that down a little bit more, and we're going to bring that down to about there. Should be good. Rotate it a little bit and then extrude up. Rotate this a little bit as well. And let's add 2-3 edge loops in here. And we're going to add a shrink wrap modifier with the projection setting on. And we're going to make sure our target is our head here. Now let's see if we can't. There we go. So we're just going to slide this up. Next, we have our headband here. Now we need to thicken it. So go to the modifiers and add a solidify modifier. And change the thickness. We want this to be about yay thick. Maybe a bit less thick. And then hit W, shade smooth. So far so good. Let's go ahead and add a subdivision surface with Control 1. And we can maybe put that above the solidify. And we'll just increase the thickness of it a little bit more. There we go. Next, I think Naruto's eyebrows might be a bit closer to his eyes than I originally have them. So let's bring this whole section a bit down. Also, his neck is a little skinny. SX, GX. There we go. For his hair is not that extravagant at all. What we're going to do is Shift A. So make sure you're in object mode. Shift A. Add a UV sphere. 32 is fine. We're going to hit 3. Tab in the edit mode. Hit Z to go into wireframe mode. And hit A twice to deselect everything. We're going to select all of these faces here. We're going to hit X and vertices. Next, we're going to grab this here, hit X, vertices, and we're going to X vertices these as well, and Control F, grid fill. We're going to turn the offset so that the line is in the center, so -3. And then we're going to add a cast modifier, sphere, with a factor of 1. Maybe not, but definitely 0.9. That's good. And we're going to apply that. So now pieces like this. Now what we want to do is we want to, we don't need this bottom half actually either. We don't need this bottom half at all. I totally forgot about that. But we need a little bit of it, so we'll get rid of this much of it. And then we'll get rid of the rest of this down here. Now what we can do with this is we can actually go on ahead and connect these at the bottom here. And let's add some edge loops here, and let's make faces. We have a couple more edge loops to add, so we'll add 3 more. Cool. So just grab these and hit F all the way through. It's fine. Alt Q, smooth it, smooth everything. And then we want to make sure that we have everything outside of those inside faces selected. Hit 1, go into vertex mode, and then hit select, and then checker deselect. And then we're just gonna, there's this. You see, there's a problem. So what we're actually going to do is for each 4 faces, for every 4 faces, we're going to extrude a spike. Every 4 faces. So extrude all the spikes that you can. So now that we have all of our islands here created, what we can do is we can select all of the faces associated with what we just made. To quickly select them, just hit C and click in the center of the 4 faces, and that'll select all 4 of them. Hit the middle mouse button to deselect. Right click out of that so that you can rotate around your scene again. And now we hit Alt Q. And what we can do is we can scale these back out. And then we can hit individual origins and hit S one more time to scale them in. Hit Alt S again to bring them more out, but then regular S to scale them in. And again, if you have hard ops or mesh machine, you can just hit Alt X and mirror that over, and now we have our hair mesh. If you don't, however, then again you want to hit 1 to go into front view, Z to go into wireframe view, and you want to basically select all of the geometry on the left side and delete it, or the right side and delete it. You want to make sure that everything is flush with the center. And then you add your mirror modifier with clipping turned on. And to make sure that all your faces are together, just hit G and X and move everything once. And then G and X and move everything again. And now everything should be in the center. So there we have it. We're going to shade this smoothly, and we're going to scale this down in edit mode. But actually, we can apply our mirror modifier. We don't really need it right now. So in edit mode, we can scale this down and bring it up, and scale it down and bring it up. Scale this down, bring it up, and now we can kind of go nuts, actually placing the hair so with these individual spikes you can, you know, add some downs, some ups, you know, you can kind of go all over the place with this hair. Now that we have the top of the head, we're going to do the headband. We'll model the back of the hair in the next part. To do this, select the headband. Go into wireframe, go into edit mode, select these faces here, hit Shift D to duplicate, Z, and scale them down, and then tab back out. In the solidify modifier, we're going to increase, make sure you hit P selection to separate that. So now it's its own object. Make sure we go into the modifiers and increase the thickness. Next, we're going to actually get rid of the subdivision and apply the shrink wrap. And the solidify. We're going to Control R, add an edge loop there, Control R, add an edge loop here, Control R, add an edge loop here. Do the same thing for up top and to the side there. And now we have our headband. We'll actually do the back of his head now. Before we do that though, let's hit Shift A, UV sphere. Let's tab into edit mode, rotate this 90 degrees on the Y axis. RX90. There we go. On the X axis. We're going to bring this up, scale it down, bring it up again, scale it down. We're going to put this in the eyes here. Okay. We have the eye. Let's go on ahead and shade smooth that. Let's go back to our face mesh here. And let's go on ahead and take care of this. So let's scale those up a little bit. Let's hit E to extrude, right click, turn proportional editing off, scale these inward like so. Control R to crease that area, and then grab this, E to extrude inward like so. E to extrude inward again, scale it up, E to extrude, scale it up, E to extrude. There we go. Now we can scale that down actually. And now we can add a mirror modifier to that. And there we go, we have the eyes. So now we have a window into his soul, or at least we're certainly building a window to his soul. So, let's grab the back of the head here and a little bit of the side. So let's hit 3, make sure we have all this selected here. Go through and we'll select all this. Let's go to the top, to the side, back around again. And now, let's Shift D to duplicate, P separate by selection, tab into object mode, select this here, hit, go to the add modifiers, add a solidify modifier, increase the outer thickness like so, and apply the mirror and the solidify because we want to apply the thickness. We then want to grab all of this and just hit S to scale with proportional editing turned on. And then we're going to move forward, SX, bring it forward like so. There we go. So we're starting the back of the head. Now to actually do it. Well, first of all, we can extrude this down to a point, and that will be his first bang. The second one we'll do by extruding out, selecting these edges here and edge sliding them closer together. We're gonna bring these two edges out like so. And then we're going to select these faces and we're going to hit E to extrude and S to scale. E to extrude one more time, S to scale, hit Control R. And that is how we're going to be making the hair. So for these bits back here, select these, E to extrude, left click, edge slide to the very center, select these here, rotate, move out, select these faces, E to extrude, S to scale to a point, bevel that, and then let's add some edge loops. And we're basically, again, we're going to do that for the rest of the head here. you know how to make a mirrored copy of this. If you don't have hard ups, you chop this up in half and add a mirror modifier. I'm going to do the shortcut to save myself some time. For the headband, we're going to apply the shrink wrap modifier, and I'm going to grab these points at the bottom, but we're going to leave the points at the front alone, and we're just going to scale those out a little bit. And last but not least, we're going to just do a little bit more editing on the inside of the face. And there we have it. Very last thing we want to do is add some eyebrows. So we're going to Shift D, duplicate these, P, separate by selection, tab into object mode, select them. We're going to go to the modifier stack, go to solidify, give it a negative thickness of about 0.002, again on the negative axis. We want to do a couple of things. I want to turn on this magnet here, go to face and make sure we turn all of those on, and then okay, cool. While we're in edit mode here, we want to select this edge here, but before we do that, we want to hide the headband and the metal part of the headband because the eyebrows kind of go up into the headband. We're going to hit G and Z and smooth these up. Like so, that's perfect. Gonna hit S to scale. And boom. So now let's unhide everything. And we can increase that thickness a little bit more. And there we go. So, we have just finished modeling Naruto's head. Feel free to tweak this more on your own free time to get it to look exactly how you would like it. There's always edits that can be made. Very last thing we're going to do is just we're going to close his mouth. Come in here, add a new material, call this eye white. Click new again. We're going to call this eye blue, and then add a new material layer again, and then we're going to call this eye black. select the faces in here. We're actually going to make a new edge loop. Select all the faces in here. Assign it the blue. And then select the faces in here and assign it the black. Next, in the blue settings here, in viewport display, we're going to change the color to blue, darker blue, and we're going to go to the black, do the same thing. I'm going to turn the roughness all the way down. And there we have it. One last thing. Yes. And there we go. So we have just made Naruto's face. So thank you everyone so much for watching. In the next part, we're going to make his body, including the torso, the hands, and the feet. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all there. Have a good one. Be safe.
No.